Hi, my name is Anna Schrader, and this is my oral book review for environmental science with Professor Lovely. So the book that I'll be reviewing today is Air Pollution a Serious Threat to Health? And it's by Andrea Nakaya. And this book has 11 chapters with varying viewpoints. Some of the different chapters have both viewpoints on the same issue, such as chapters 5 and 6, whereas one talks about how it will harm human health and one talks about how air pollution will not harm human health. And it covers a wide variety of topics within the area of how health is or is not affected by air pollution. So the summary of the book, so chapter 1 is about air pollution and health. It's like an overview, and it kind of talks about some of the worst pollution episodes, such as Tornara, Pennsylvania. This happened on October 26, 1948, and within the span of 5 days, with poisonous compounds, 43% of the 14,000 people living there had become sick, and 10% were severely affected, and 19 people died. And it also talks about the Clean Air Act and particulate matter, and how smaller particles are more harmful because the larger particles kind of get filtered out through filters. And it also talks about indoor air pollution and combustion byproducts, which is incomplete combustion of fossil fuels, like you can see in gas stoves inside. And then tobacco smoke, chemicals in tobacco and cigarettes, and secondhand smoke, and how that can linger and it doesn't just go away after you're done smoking the cigarette. It also talks about radon and radioactive gas, which is radioactive gas created during the decay of radium, which can penetrate through the foundation and into the air of homes, which is very dangerous. And chapter 2 is about poor air quality, how it threatens human health. And it talks about how the most complex problem of air pollution is achieving and maintaining the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, or the NAAQS. And it also talks again about fine particulate matter and ozone and power plants, which is one of the main topics of this, and how it's most significant source of harmful emissions. And it emits more than 67 harmful air pollutants, or HAPs, in large quantities. Another big topic in that chapter is heavy-duty diesel engines, or HDDEs, and the total NOx and SO2 emissions from HDEs exceed the total from all of the nation's highway diesel engines, which is pretty large, I would say. And then chapter 3 is air quality has improved, and it talks about how under the Clean Air Act, or CAA, the Environmental Protection Agency EPA establishes air quality standards to help protect the public health, and how it sets limits to protect sensitive populations as well as the public welfare, such as ecosystems. And under the Clean Air Act, the Environmental Protection Agency and then it talks about how it looks at the levels of the 6 major air pollutants each year and kind of keeps track of those, which are nitrogen dioxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide, particulate matter, carbon monoxide, and lead. And then chapter 4 talks about the threat posed by pollution and how it has been exaggerated. It talks about how many Americans believe that air pollution has gotten worse, but in reality it's actually gotten significantly better with all the regulations that have been in place. It talks about the disconnection between perception and reality, and how we usually perceive it as bad when in reality it's actually gotten better. And then it also talks about environmental groups and how they deal with pollution, often giving misleading pessimistic statistics, and how the dose makes the poison, and how severity of the effect decreases with the exposure. And then chapter 5 is called Global Warming Caused by Air Pollution Will Harm Human Health. And it talks about the wealthy, energy-consuming nations, and the main cause is global warming, and the smaller, less developed countries are more at risk, and mapping out the hotspots of limited resources, which hotspot 1 is heat waves and air pollution, hotspot 2 is sea level rise, hotspot 3 is flooding, hotspot 4 is drought and malnutrition, hotspot 5 is the El Nino effects, and hotspot 6 is highland malaria. And then chapter 6 talks about global warming caused by air pollution, how it will not harm human health, and that there's no evidence that future climate change will be harmful to the health of humans, and how these projected health effects are nothing new and have been around for a while, and talk about how smallpox has been eradicated, and how HIV and AIDS is the main thing we need to worry about, and that insect-borne diseases are overblown, like, for example, malaria. And then it also talks about the history that shows the benefits of warmer weather. And then chapter 7 is indoor air pollution is at a major risk to public health. So how the EPA put indoor pollution at one of the top 5 risks to public health, and 90% of it, because people are also 90% of the time indoors, so that also plays a role into it. And modern materials such as paints and furniture can be a source of pollution because they are made. Some of them, majority, are made with volatile organic compounds or VOCs. And CO poisoning symptoms are about the same as a common cold, so it is hard to tell if you do have CO poisoning. And it is possible for airborne. Talks about how it's possible for airborne pollutants to totally be removed from any space, but they can be lowered in number. And then chapter 8 is air pollution is a serious health risk in Asia, and it talks about the large cloud of air pollution that stretches across India, Bangladesh, and the Southeast Asia. And coal consumption in China is 50% higher to the US, so that also plays a role in the cloud above Asia. And that the haze may be to blame for some of the drought and flooding that has been going on. Chapter 9 is pollution regulation reforms will worsen air quality. It talks about the administration does not want to open up the effects of what new regulations and reforms will have on health because they are afraid people will see some of these changes will do more harm than good to our health. And some of the new rules should not have exemptions from the rules which could cause more air pollution. Chapter 10 is pollution regulations reforms will improve air quality. And these is how changes will give companies flexibility they need to upgrade their facilities to reduce the hazardous air pollutants that enter the atmosphere, and the NSR reforms that the EPA proposed is predicted to cut VOPs by tens of thousands of tons per year. Chapter 11, the global approach to pollution regulations is necessary, and how it is we need to approach this as a whole world rather than separately, because approaching it separately has been met with limited success, and these problems cannot be solved locally. Pollution can flow across borders of states, countries, and even continents. And then today's analysis. So overall, this is a very informative piece of writing that includes varying perspectives of the same topic, and this book does a really good job of laying out some of the main topics behind the controversial topic of air pollution. And so what were some of the main objectives of the work, and were they successfully accomplished? So the main objectives of this book was informing the reader of the many different topics within air pollution, and I think that was accomplished. Their goals, that was very with all the variety that was included in this book, and there's a lot of statistics so you can compare some of them. And having each chapter with a different topic was very well planned out idea and made the book very organized and easy to find specific information and being able to see opposing viewpoints of the same topic. And what didn't work so well, although the book was very thought out, some of the information was kind of repetitive, and the information section might repeat it in another section. And it's just kind of like, it was just, yes, it can be like a reminder, but it can also just kind of be annoying to read the same thing over and over. Some of the major themes, I think the major theme was basically change overall and how the air quality has improved or changed, global warming, how that has changed, and indoor versus outdoor pollution, how everything has changed over time, air pollution in Asia, how relation affect air quality, how it worsens and improves, and how the global approach isn't necessary, and how that changes from a local approach. Intended audience, I would say, was college level readers. The intended audience are people who wish to become more informed about the air pollution. And did the author reinforce my ideas? I didn't really have many ideas, but I think some of them were improved, but a lot of them were changed, especially the section on how pollution is exaggerated. You never really hear about that, or how pollution has already been changed. It only really talks about how bad it is. Finally, would I recommend this to others? Yes, I would recommend this to someone looking for more compacted view on air pollution. It's very informative, easy to navigate, and you don't really need any prior knowledge, and covers a variety of topics. And there was a lot of shocking statistics, but one I found was that in and around India, sunlight was reduced by 10%, which I found really shocking. And in conclusion, after having read this book, I have a wider perspective on air pollution that isn't just tunneled in one direction and has been broadened. And this has also given me many new points about, instead of just pollution is bad and it's continually getting worse, and never talk about what we have done pollution already. Thanks for watching.